The Magnum Opus. The Magnum Opus, or the Great Work, is the beating heart of alchemy. It's what every alchemist, mystic, and philosopher secretly chased, not just the transformation of metals, but the transformation of the self. On the surface, it looked like a quest to turn lead into gold, but that was only half the story. To real alchemists, lead symbolized the heavy, unconscious parts of the human soul. Fear, ignorance, greed, and gold represented the purified spirit, shining with wisdom and truth. So when they said transmutation, what they really meant was enlightenment through evolution. The Magnum Opus describes a series of stages, not just chemical reactions in a flask, but psychological and spiritual milestones. Each stage represents a kind of death and rebirth, dissolving what's impure so that something higher can emerge. In simple terms, the Magnum Opus is a map of inner transformation, the same journey every soul takes when it evolves from confusion to clarity, from fragmentation to unity. The Tria prima. The Tria prima, sulfur, mercury, and salt are the holy trinity of alchemy. Every alchemist believed that all matter, from the densest metal to the human soul, was built from these three divine principles, not chemical elements, but spiritual essences that describe how life behaves and transforms. The first is sulphur, the fiery soul. It's the energy of desire, will, and transformation, the spark that burns and moves. Sulphur gives things their individuality, their personality, but it can also be volatile, too much fire, and it consumes itself. In people, it's passion, ego, drive, the urge to become something more. Next is Mercury, the spirit of change, fluid, shapeless, ever-shifting. It's the bridge between above and below, the link between body and soul. Mercury is adaptability, reflection, intuition, the power that connects all things. In every transformation, it's Mercury that allows sulphur's fire to move through salt's form. You could say Mercury is the consciousness of the process itself. And finally, salt, the body, the grounding, the stability, the crystallization of spirit into matter. Salt is what holds things together. It's preservation, endurance, and memory. In human terms, salt is the body that anchors the soul, the structure through which sulphur's passion and Mercury's flow can manifest. Together, these three aren't just ingredients, they're forces of existence. Sulphur is the soul that dreams, Mercury is the spirit that connects, salt is the body that endures. Every process of creation, destruction, or rebirth, whether in the cosmos or the self, happens through these three interacting. They are the eternal dance of fire, flow, and form, life's alchemical equation. To the alchemist, mastering the Tria prima meant mastering the universe, because when you understand the balance of sulfur, mercury, and salt, you don't just change metals, you become the fire that forges them. The Philosopher's Stone is the crown jewel of alchemy, the legendary goal of every alchemist's journey. To outsiders, it was believed to be a literal stone that could turn lead into gold or grant eternal life. But to true alchemists, it was something far greater, the symbol of ultimate transformation. They saw it as the perfect fusion of spirit and matter, the point where heaven and earth finally meet. Creating the stone wasn't about wealth, it was about completing the great work, the Magnum Opus. The stone represented perfection itself. It could purify any substance, heal any illness, and awaken immortality, not just in the body but in the soul. In simple terms, it was the human being made whole, balanced in mind, body, and spirit. It meant the alchemist had become the stone, the awakened one who could transform all that they touched. In later centuries, mystic psychologists and philosophers reinterpreted it. To them, the philosopher's stone wasn't hidden in the lab, it was hidden in the psyche. It was the point where the shadow is integrated, the ego dissolves, and the divine self emerges. The alchemist. The alchemist isn't just a scientist. He's a philosopher, a mystic, and a dreamer all in one, the bridge between heaven and earth. Every experiment, every reaction, every spark is a reflection of the inner journey, a conversation between the human spirit and the divine. To the alchemist, the universe is alive, a breathing being made of hidden patterns and sacred geometry. Everything is connected and everything can be transformed. Lead can become gold, ignorance can become wisdom, and man can become divine. That's the secret at the heart of alchemy, the belief that matter isn't dead, it's sleeping, waiting to awaken through understanding. The true alchemist doesn't work to dominate nature, he works with it. He listens to it, learns its language, and collaborates with its intelligence. The furnace isn't just an oven, it's a symbol of the inner fire, the burning desire for truth. The crucible isn't just a tool, it's the heart, where opposites melt and fuse into unity. Every great alchemist was also a mystic. They spoke in riddles, symbols, and paradoxes, because truth can't always be told directly, it must be experienced. When they wrote about distilling spirits or purifying metals, they were really describing spiritual purification, the process of stripping away what's false until only what's real remains. In the end, the alchemist's greatest experiment isn't in the lab, it's in himself. He's the matter being dissolved, purified, and reborn. Through patience, suffering, and revelation, he discovers that the power to transform the world begins with transforming himself. The 4 stages of the Magnum Opus. The Magnum Opus has 4 stages of transformation, each one a mirror of death, rebirth, and awakening. Together they describe not just the making of gold, but the making of a soul. The first stage is Nigredo, the blackening. Everything begins in darkness. Nigredo is the stage of decay, chaos, and dissolution when the old self begins to fall apart. It's the burning away of illusions, the confrontation with shadow, the realization that your former identity can't take you any further. In the laboratory, it looked like putrefaction, the rotting of matter in the flask. But symbolically, it's the ego dying so the spirit can be reborn. It's uncomfortable, messy, and necessary. The alchemist said, "No gold without fire. You must be broken before you can be purified." The second stage is Albedo, the whitening. After destruction comes cleansing. Albedo is the washing of the soul, the purification of what remains after darkness. It's clarity returning after confusion, the moonlight after the storm. In this stage, the alchemist separates the pure from the impure, distilling truth from illusion. Emotionally, it's when guilt, shame, and fear begin to dissolve, replaced by forgiveness and peace. The waters of Albedo baptize the spirit. You are reborn but not yet whole. The third stage is Citrinitas, the yellowing. Citrinitas marks the awakening of inner light. The purified soul begins to shine with understanding. Its illumination, the realization of wisdom, balance, and higher vision. The yellow color symbolizes the rising sun, consciousness expanding beyond the personal self. In the lab, this stage corresponded to the appearance of golden hues, proof that transformation was underway. Spiritually, it's when intuition and intellect begin to work together, knowledge turning into insight. The final stage is Rubedo, the reddening. This is the completion, perfection, and union of all opposites. Rubedo is the marriage of spirit and matter, masculine and feminine, heaven and earth. It's the creation of the Philosopher's stone, the perfected state where everything becomes one. Here, the alchemist's inner fire stabilizes into gold, no longer consuming but illuminating. It's enlightenment realized through experience, not escaping the world but transforming it. In Rubedo, the alchemist doesn't just find the divine, they become it. Transmutation. On the surface, it was the legendary process of turning lead into gold, but beneath that legend hides one of humanity's oldest spiritual secrets, that everything can change, including you. To the alchemists, metals were living things, souls evolving deep within the earth. Lead wasn't dead metal, it was immature gold trapped potential waiting for refinement. So when an alchemist heated lead, dissolved it, purified it, and crystallized it again, it wasn't just chemistry, it was a spiritual mirror. They believed that by refining matter, they were also refining the self. Every fire in the furnace symbolized the fire of consciousness, burning away ignorance, fear, and illusion. Each reaction, each transformation, was a reflection of inner change. When the metal turned to gold, it meant the soul had become pure light. But transmutation wasn't limited to metals. It applied to thoughts, emotions, even destiny. Hate could be transmuted into compassion, fear into courage, pain into wisdom. That's the secret behind all alchemical symbolism. It's the story of the human spirit learning to transform its own lead. Long before chemistry, alchemists believed that everything in existence, every star, plant, animal, and even thought, was made from 4 living forces: earth, water, air, and fire. They weren't just physical substances, they were energies of existence, each one a personality of the universe. Let's start with earth. Earth is the solid, the stable, the material. It represents body, matter, and structure. Everything you can touch and rely on. It's gravity, bones, mountains, and roots. But spiritually, earth is your foundation. Discipline, patience, grounding. Without it, you drift. With too much, you get stuck. It teaches that growth requires roots and release. Then comes water, the shapeshifter. It's emotion, intuition, and flow. Water dissolves what's rigid and connects what's separate. It's the river that carries memory and feeling, the mirror of the soul. In alchemy, water cleanses, cools, and transforms chaos into clarity. It reminds us that surrender can be its own kind of strength. Next is air, the breath between worlds. It's thought, communication, inspiration, the invisible link between mind and matter. Air moves ideas like wind moves clouds. It's the element of intellect and imagination, the one that teaches you how to see the world from above. In balance, it gives freedom and clarity. In excess, confusion and distraction. And finally, fire, the destroyer and the creator. It's passion, will, transformation, the spark that turns potential into reality. Fire burns impurities away, both in matter and in spirit. It's destruction that leads to rebirth, the engine of evolution. Every alchemist sought to master this element, because fire doesn't just illuminate, it reveals. Together, these 4 elements aren't separate substances. They're archetypes of existence. Every process of life, growth, emotion, thought, and change is the dance between them. Earth grounds, water feels, air thinks, and fire acts. The quintessence. This is the fifth and highest element in alchemy, the invisible thread that ties the universe together. While the four classical elements, earth, water, air, and fire, make up the visible world, the quintessence is the breath between them, the divine spirit that gives them life. It is pure essence, untouched by corruption, the spiritual fabric of existence. The word quintessence comes from the Latin quinta essentia, meaning the fifth essence. Alchemists believed it was the most perfect form of matter, the hidden light that holds everything in balance. It was the energy that filled the heavens, flowed through the stars, and within all living beings. If fire transforms, air thinks, water feels, and earth sustains, then quintessence unites them all. It is the consciousness within creation itself. In their laboratories, alchemists sought to extract the quintessence from plants, metals, and even themselves. They believed it was the secret to immortality, the elixir that could heal any illness and restore harmony to body and soul. But behind that quest was a deeper meaning. They weren't just searching for a mystical substance. They were trying to find the divine hidden in the material world.